Hello everybody and welcome back to the Phoenix Wright 80 Trials and Tribulations walkthrough. It's time to continue on with Bridge to the Turnabout. And so, for the first time in the franchise's history, we get to play as Miles Edgeworth. Oh, this is another of the reasons why this entire episode just delights me. Because, like, obviously, Shutakumi, who created the franchise, knew that people liked Miles Edgeworth. Like, really liked Miles Edgeworth. And he wanted to give the character a role in the third game, because ultimately there is no space for him, really. Obviously he turns up in Turnabout Beginnings, but that's your lot. So while he was writing the story for this final case, he came up with the idea of making Edgy the player character for a time, and rewrote his draft to have Nick plunge off of Dusky Bridge to allow us to temporarily play as Edgeworth. And I have to say, stroke of genius. Absolute stroke of genius. Because obviously, Edgy's a prosecutor. He's not used to defending people. And also, technically, he really shouldn't be defending people because it's not his job and he could get into major trouble. But, as Larry says, a paper badge can fool the judge. It'll all be good. As long as, we don't see the actual normal judge, because he'd recognise us, and we'd need a prosecutor who's on our side, but it'd be fine. But yeah, just, it's so exciting to be able to play as Edgeworth. Because we get to see the differences between his and Nick's internal monologues, how they think, how they work. And what's quite nice is that you get to see Edgy's slightly more sardonic side, I suppose, because, well, obviously he's can be quite cutting in court. Because you get to see his internal monologue, he's able to make quips at things that he doesn't actually say out loud to people, and they're often just quite funny because they're quite cutting. But yes, there's also just some wonderful bits of music throughout this case. I mean, this in particular is quite a nice piece, because it's just really quite sad. I don't know whether this is classified as one of Iris's themes. But I am certainly not going to tell you what her main leitmotif is, because that would be a bad move. Although I think I could probably get away with saying that her track is, I believe, Distant Images or Distant Traces of Beauty. Which, if you already know what that's linked to, then might reveal a few things. But ultimately there's nothing else, really. I really want to know what this particular song is called, but I'm never going to be able to find it. It's really annoying. I wish I've kind of been slacking in terms of soundtracks as of late. I think it's because I had such a wonderful time going into all of the music in the lovely thing that was Little King's Story, and the amount of time and effort I put into my solo run of Okami. That I just kind of... Well, I've been going a little bit doolally ever since, really. I think I did reasonably well in Journey and Kirby's Epic Yarn and Little King's Story, and then after that, just nosedived in terms of soundtracks. But that's fine, because that happens. And also, I'm a busy man these days. So in terms of what I can do in terms of research, can annoyingly get rather limited. But it's all good, because, as I said, favourite case in the game, and Edgy's just got Iris to agree to telling Nick the truth when she next... Well, when this is all over. So, we've already made progress, and that is good. And oh, the entire gang is back together! So already in this case, we've got obviously Nick and Maya, we've got Edgy and Gumshoe, we've got Pearls, we've got someone who looks remarkably like Dahlia Hawthorne but really cannot be Dahlia Hawthorne. We've got Larry, if I haven't already mentioned Larry. It's one big happy family reunion. Like, there are only 2 more characters. I feel I need... Well, there's 3 more characters, one of whom we know we're going to see eventually. His name actually turned up there for a moment in time. But there are like 3 in total that I feel we would need to see for this case to be complete in terms of the franchise, because then it would have hit basically every important character the franchise created for the original trilogy, and that would be pretty glorious. The other thing that I find quite fascinating about this case and the fact that we're playing as Edgeworth is that he often, surprisingly, misunderstands certain things. I suppose it's because the way Edgeworth seems to deal with language is sometimes surprisingly literal. So, Gumshoe said, "That bikini lady?" And so Edgeworth is assuming it's a lady wearing a bikini. I mean, to be fair, most people would if somebody said, oh yeah, that bikini lady. But that is also how you would refer to her, potentially. Like, that name, person, is a very common way of referring to people who you're not too sure about. Like, you know who they are, but you wouldn't really properly be able to have a proper conversation with them. So, for instance, you say, oh yeah, that Richard guy. You know, the one with the thingy and the blah. So, you would have thought that Edgeworth, being the smart prosecutor that he is, would have been able to get that. But then obviously there is also, you know, the whole thing, the concept of bag lady. Oh yeah, that bag lady. So I get the potential for confusion. Yes, we're going to be doing a lot of running about the temple because we cannot go over the bridge because it's buggered, it got hit by lightning, and that's why Nick is in hospital. So we're quite limited actually for this first day of investigation, and that's ultimately why it's going to be relatively smallish in comparison to what's going to occur later. Although that said, in terms of parts, the investigations are going to take up the same amount of space, but I'm pretty sure that the second phase of investigation is a lot longer than this first phase. And I suppose it's because at this point they're just sort of setting everything up. And because obviously we are limited in the locations that we can go to, there's only so many characters we can speak to, there's only so much evidence and testimony that we can find. But as long as it's enough to get us into a second day, that is more than good enough for me. Also, actually, I hadn't noticed that, largely because I was paying too much attention to what I was reading and, well, the guide, and just making sure I was clicking to keep everything moving along nice and smoothly. But on Larry's palette, which is what he's got, you've got red, purple, blue, obviously red and blue mixed together to make purple, and then you've got from the blue, green and yellow, you mix blue and yellow to make green. Sort of. Doesn't always quite work out like that. But that's the idea. So you've got that nice little spread of colours. Never noticed before. I suppose there is some logic up in Larry's head, even if he's not altogether there. Ooh, it's a bit awkward. And oh, poor Gumshoe. Still getting his salary cut, bless him. Even after he got to be the hero and all. It's bloody typical, eh? Yes, I think we're going to get some particularly fascinating stuff out of Sister Bikini, because obviously she was the one who found the body, it seems. So, it's not going to end well, let's put it that way. So yes, finally, what did you see, Sister Bikini? Ugh. Okay. Ooh. Oh. This is going to be difficult to sort out. She saw Iris stabbing Mr. Lee's Donim. Or Durnim. I suppose it is technically Durnim. Because it's running off of the word de. But more on that a bit later. Oh, I mean, I suppose it could be Donim. Basically, you've got two potential routes for the name Donim. And, yes. I will go into Elise Donim a bit more, but obviously she's the victim in this case. She's already dead. We're going to need to find out a lot more stuff first before we manage to delve deeper into everything that is going on. Now, something that I didn't do, but which you can do if you choose to, is when you initially arrive at Dusky Bridge, you can go back to the detention centre, and if you do, then Gumshoe will follow you, and will recall Edgy's stay in the detention centre, directly referencing Turnabout Goodbyes, aka the final case of the original Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, but case 4 of the Ace Attorney that everyone else has played in the West and since, because obviously they introduced case 5 or episode 5, which is Rise from the Ashes or something to that effect. But Turnabout Goodbyes is effectively the end of the narrative of the original Ace Attorney. So that's a nice little thing that you can get if you choose to. And I believe that I did find a little bit of a nice potential reference. Yes, so the narrative of Bridge to the Turnabout could be influenced by a certain story, actually, and that is one that I will unfortunately actually have to leave for another day, because we are quickly running out of time right now. But we have found a very important clue that we must read. Oh! Joy. Someone was blackmailing Iris. This is already going well. Joy. But that is all we need from here. So, let's have a look. Let's properly look at this note. Fascinating. I think we're going to need to investigate this a little bit more, eh?